What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Halfback Dynasty. My name is Brendan. We are joined today with our co-host, Tyler, the legendary Gator Sens. Tyler, how the heck you feeling, my man?
Feeling good, Brendan. Always love the intro, man. Kind of gets my head in the right spot. I'm always a little bit antsy when we first sign in, and then you get rolling. I feel good. Feeling good. Hope everybody out there is having a good Father's Day. And if you're not a father, I hope you're having a good day anyways, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm living life, dude. I'm living life. I'm a dog dad. I know you're a dog dad, and it's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, but we're committed, just like we're committed to this Dynasty content. And Tyler, we have a special video today. We're talking about top 5 Dynasty running backs. And I'm well aware that there are rankings all over on the internet. There are a lot of websites that have very similar rankings, but I can vouch for us and promise that our rankings are a little bit different. And the reason why is because we don't conform. Or wait, do we conform? Tyler, I don't know the definition of conforming, but let me be honest with you. We're different, and that's all that matters.
We are, man. Our rankings are based on, hey, if I was starting a team from scratch, had all these options, this is the way I would go. I'm not putting guys in here that, if I was on the clock, I'm taking the guys that I'm ranking, I think that's a better way to do it. We respect the community. The community is our bread and butter, but hey, we're here to give some different takes. Look for our top 100 overall. It'll be a lot different than what you're seeing out there. So, hey, man, I rank how I would like to draft. And exactly. I can tell you, I'm not taking Zeke over some of these guys. So I don't rank like that, Or CMC. Fired. I think everybody's over Zeke. So maybe CMC, Cook, those kind of guys that are constantly up around the top-ish. And you're reading it thinking, yeah, you're not really drafting that guy there.
We're cycling through the RBs. And Tyler, I thought about it. The proper term is we don't conform. We don't agree with the public. Thank you for letting me work that one out in my head. I was getting a little worried for a second, but check this out, folks. We've got a top 5 list here. Each of us have developed a top 5 Dynasty running back list. And as we mentioned, it's probably a little bit different than what you're used to. So we'll take turns. We'll indicate rank by rank who we each have, and we'll just discuss freely on why we have that ranking. As always, I got to give my co-host the floor first, guaranteeing that, rank 1 on Dynasty RBs is probably the same, and it's probably the only one that's going to be the same. But Tyler, take the floor away. Who you got as Dynasty RB number 1, my friend?
Number 1, obviously, if I could pick any RB, it would be Jonathan Taylor. He has age. He can catch. He can block. I don't have any concerns about anybody on the depth chart whatsoever. I know people still, when they're asking questions about Taylor, should I handcuff him with Hines? Hines doesn't matter. If Jonathan Taylor goes down, you're in trouble, period. Even if you're deep at running back, you're not replacing Taylor anyways. So I've told you in the past, I'm not a handcuff guy, so I don't pay any attention. But Taylor, no question, nothing not to like about the guy.
Yeah, he put up some pretty legendary stats as a second-year running back. Posted like 1,800 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns on the ground. He's on a great offensive team in a sense that they're well established. The offensive line is always solid. You have Matt Ryan coming in, which, to be honest, I don't think really affects anything compared to what he did last year. But Jonathan Taylor is the clear-cut RB1. There is nobody else in Dynasty football I would rather own on my team. If it's a super flex, you can make the argument for a couple quarterbacks, but he is by far the best running back in the NFL right now. So I wholeheartedly agree. That was an easy one. Let's jump into number 2. Who do you have listed as your number 2 Dynasty running back currly?
And last quick thing on Taylor, man. I actually think Ryan being there is better. Look at what he did with dumping it off. He likes to dump the ball off.
Cordell Patterson, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I think Taylor has room to grow in the passing game, and that's kind of scary to think about, but not to get caught up there. RB number 2 for me, Najee Harris. I mean, there's some knocks on Harris. His yards per carry wasn't great. His passing was all basically one game if you really broke it down. But hey, at the same time, the guy can catch, he blocks like Taylor, and he can run. What is there not to like? And outside of Taylor, is there any other workhorse in the entire NFL besides Harris? I don't think that'll change. I think the QB game is going to be rough. So I think Harris will, he might struggle to find his yards as much this year, but I'm sorry, man, you're getting 25 carries a game. You're going to put up points. And I know a lot of people within the community are low on Harris, but volume's king. That's all you need as a running back. Just you're getting fed the ball, you're going to be fine.
Agreed. A big portion of how I rank players in the NFL in terms of dynasty is, have they done it before? And you have to look at has Najee Harris done it before? And yes, he did this past season. Granted, he was fed the ball a lot, right? Was that due to Big Ben not being capable of throwing? I don't know. It seems like that was a part of it. So will he continue getting this volume? Yes, I think he will, because clearly their quarterback situation is not really improved in any way. Their wide receiver core is just the same. So they have some sort of passing attack, but they don't have a quarterback who can get it to these receivers. So I agree. Najee Harris is a pretty safe bet. I like the number 2 pick. I think that his yards per carry were incredibly low, which is definitely concerning. Yeah. But you don't care about the yards per carry if they're getting 300 plus touches a season. I mean, I really don't care about that, because, he looks like he took 307 carries as a running back his rookie year. That is the type of production that we want to see, the type of carries we want to see as a running back in the NFL, because not many other RBs will get to post 300. I mean, my goodness, I'd love it. Tyler, this is where things already are starting to shake up. I do not have him as my RB2. You ready to hear who I have as my RB2?
Oh, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a reach in a sense, because I'm basing this off of future projections. I think that they're capable of this, but I think there are things that could set this running back back. As my RB2, this is a huge I guess reach in a sense. Not that big of a reach, but in a sense of most people would probably have Najee as their number 2. I got Deandre Swift, brother.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Well, you'll see with my number 3 how I feel about that. So.
You got Swift as your number 3?
Absolutely, man.
So here's why I like Deandre Swift. One, especially in PPR formats, he is one of the best pass-catching running backs, in my opinion. Detroit is going to heavily lean on him in terms of running the ball as well as catching the ball. I think Detroit had a great draft. I think adding Jameson Williams was a very, very big add at the wide receiver position. I think that you have Hawkinson, who is supposedly supposed to be a top 5 guy. You actually have a decent, right? Yeah, hopefully at this point you have a decent offensive line. I think their offensive line ranks in maybe the top 15. I want to say like number 13. The point is, there's really a lot going in favor of Deandre Swift. Now, the only thing that concerns me is he injury prone? I don't think he's injury prone per se, but I do think that there are some lingering injuries that could sideline him maybe 2 to 3 games a year. Now, I think he has potential to put up Dalvin Cook type numbers, brother.
Sure.
I really do. I really feel like he's going to catch maybe 40 to 50 balls. I think he's going to post maybe 1,300 yards on the ground. I mean, it's production season for Deandre Swift, and he's young. And I'm pretty sure he's younger than Najee Harris. Najee Harris is 24 years old already, man. That's really old. In terms of age, I mean, let's look right now. Deandre Swift is only 23 years old, and he's been in the league 1 year longer than Najee Harris. Jonathan Taylor is only 23 years old. So I'm not saying age is a factor in terms of production, but you have to be very cognizant, especially at the running back position, because there is a steep cliff, especially once they hit, that 26, 27 age. Basically, their second contract is when you have to really be careful of that cliff. So I don't know, man. I think DeAndre Swift is primed right now. So is that who you got at number 3?
It is, man. I mean, obviously, age plays arguably the biggest factor in all of Dynasty. Let's be honest. If you're young and upside, you're ranked higher, valued higher than maybe your stats should say. And yeah, I have DeAndre Swift at number 3. I feel good about it. Yeah, the only knock on him has been health. He has been a little bit banged up, but yeah, you're talking about arguably the highest upside guy in PPR as far as a running back goes, just because of the amount of balls he does catch. And I think the staff in Detroit is trying to keep him healthier, so I do think there is concerns about his workload week to week. But as you mentioned, I think if they're competitive in games, trying to win games, at some point you just got to give your running back the ball. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. So, nobody, especially, nobody in the Dynasty community, you're not drafting players expecting them to get hurt. People are going to get hurt every year. So to me, that doesn't knock Swift at all. But, he has had injury issues. So he comes in at my number 3. And I mean, in my newer league that just started last year, I took Harris at 6 or 7. I forget my spot. And on the turn, I took Swift. So, I mean, I was thrilled.
Hey, that's nice,
I'm still thrilled going in this year, even with how many people are low on Harris. I don't get it. So, yeah, man, I'd be thrilled I'm very comfortable with Swift at 3.
I love it, man. I love it. That's a nasty 1-2 punch.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a start too, also.
So. Yeah, geez, man, I love it. In a PPR league, Swift's going to be a monster because of his reception capabilities.
Should be good.
His receiving capabilities. I think both offenses are going to lean heavily on Harris still and Swift. The question is, though, can Swift take the full workload? We know Harris obviously can. I mean, if you got 370 touches this year on the ground, I mean, bro, that's like Derrick Henry type numbers.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
They're built similar, Najee Harris is a big dude.
Yeah, so I like both options. What just concerns me is the fact that Harris was not able to increase that yards per carry. And I think he's got the starting gig no matter what for a few years. But can he take those touches and gain a few more yards per carry? Not a few more yards, but, tenths of a yards. It makes a big difference when you add up 300 carries per season. So I love it. I actually have Najee Harris as my number 4 RB. So let me tell you who I've got at number 3, and I'm completely all in. Very big question mark, unknown, rookie this year. This is a very ballsy decision to put this running back as my RB3. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I think that the landing spot was perfect. I really believe that with the turnover of running backs, we're seeing a lot of those stud RBs cycle through and hit that cliff. Kamara, Cook, Chubb's probably only got 1 or 2 more years. Who knows what's going on with Barkley, Eckler, these studs, McCaffrey. It seems like the starting, and it's time for the new era of running backs to step into their place. 3 for Dynasty is Breece Hall of the New York. And I am very, very heavy workload for Breece Hall. Not necessarily on the ground. I think he's going to be one of the top pass-catching running backs this season. We're looking at a team that has nothing to lose. They drafted very well, in my opinion. Their offense is a lot more potent now than it was 2 years ago. You have Elijah Moore out there. You have Garrett Wilson out there. You have Breece Hall. You have a pretty good backup running back now in terms of Michael Carter, which I'm not worried about at all. He was late capital in terms of the draft. He's not going to be any type of hindrance of Breece Hall. But what you have is a super young, potent offense that is going to feed the ball. And the best part about it is the Jets will probably still be down a lot in these games, especially early on. I don't think they're good enough to win many games, but I think they're good enough to develop these players. And I think in the upcoming seasons, the Jets will have a great roster, especially because they're so young. You want to know my prediction on Breece Hall? I'm going to give you a rough estimate of what I think he will hit. You ready?
Let's hear it, man.
I have a feeling that he will probably receive about 260 touches and about 40 receptions. I think he will amount to close to 1,200 yards on the ground and 6 touchdowns and about 42 receptions, just over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm predicting about 10 touchdowns, and I'm predicting he gets close to breaking over 2,000 total yards. It's an aggressive look, but dude, prime situation, prime athlete, destroyed the combine. The kid looks like a stud, man. How do you feel about Breece Hall?
I don't mind the pick at all. I mean, you and I are in that startup that's even super flex. I took him in the second round.
I was going to take him if you didn't.
Obviously, I was building for the future and punted on quarterback, but I got no problem with that, man. Again, you nailed it on the head. You have the top tier, quote unquote, guys are old. You're not going to build around CMC. You're not building around Cook. You're not building around Kamara. You're not building around Eckler. You're not. So, that immediately pushes these young guys up the board, up the rankings, if you will. But in a startup, I know people will, but I find it hard to believe that many would take any of those guys I just listed over Breece Hall. At the end of the day, he's young. He's in a great location, and
healthy.
value dictates the market, and Breece Hall is already being valued at 2 or 3 first-round picks. Fair or not, that's how Dynasty goes. So I got no problem with it. It is bold. It could blow up in your face, but every single player could blow up in your face, even the guys that seem the safest. So look at McCaffrey and Barkley the last 2 years. They're not worth anything. They're not, They are, but they're not, because neither one of them have done anything for 2 years. Yep.
They're sketchy right now. And when you're drafting premium selections, round 1, round 2, you're picking on the biggest sure thing. Your number 1 pick in the first round should not be some guy that you hope stays healthy. It should be a player that can produce and that does not have injury issues. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When Christian McCaffrey is healthy, CMC is by far the best player in Dynasty football. Top 3 in Superflex, right? I get it. There's some quarterback Superflex weighs heavily on the QBs, but Christian McCaffrey is by far the best Dynasty player in the game when he's healthy. The thing is, the past couple of years, he has not been healthy, and I can't take that risk anymore, man. I can't. I need guaranteed production. Now, I understand that's pretty hypocritical because Breece Hall has never played it down in the NFL. But all signs are pointing to Breece Hall having a very successful career, and I think he's going to be a huge component of the Jets' offense. And I literally think the Jets' offense is going to really elevate their team, and I think we're going to start seeing them competing in the next couple of years, which would be kind of cool, man. I like seeing those underdog teams, those teams that have been down in the trenches for years, step up and hopefully start running the division. So I don't know, man. I'm all in on Breece. I got him in a lot of leagues, and I paid up heavily for him.
Hey, man, they crushed the draft. And I mean, Breece Hall has value baked in. I don't care what he does this year. He's not going to go below 2 first rounders. And I'm going to give a prime example. Look at Travis Etienne. Dude didn't even play last year. You can't get Travis Etienne for less than 2 firsts right now. No chance. It's baked in value, which for ranking standpoint is huge. It's huge. It doesn't matter what Hall does this year. I understand like Pitts hit 1,000 yards. There was no other receivers, whatever. But dude scored 1 touchdown. You can't trade for Kyle Pitts unless you give up $1,000 in cash to the person that owns him, 18 first-round picks. Like, it doesn't matter. It's baked in, So, yeah, Hall, I get it, but I don't think ranking him that high is truly that much of a stretch. I really don't.
Absolutely. And even if he has a slightly down year compared to projections,
He's fine.
he will still have value.
Yeah, he's
Even
fine.
with other running backs, as we mentioned in previous episodes, Josh Jacobs, CEH, the running backs always have significant value because they're so young and they're always drafted on a team that can use them. So that's who I got at 3. Who do you got coming in at your Dynasty RB number 4 overall?
So number 4 overall, I'm not sure if people can see the 5280 air just pumping into my studio here. Javonte Williams, obviously being here in Denver, you're just getting inundated with Javonte Williams, but kind of the same thing as we're talking about with Hall. I don't care that Melvin Gordon re-signed. Melvin Gordon's old. Melvin Gordon caught lightning in a bottle last year. I think those that are banking on Melvin Gordon as a back-end RB1, 2 this year are going to be sadly disappointed. Melvin Gordon is there to help Williams so that Williams doesn't have to be Najee Harris and have 300 carries and get hurt. But Melvin Gordon isn't going to touch the ball as much as he did last year. Javonte Williams can catch. He is crazy
43 receptions last year is nice.
Crazy hard to tackle.
Yeah.
He runs extremely hard. He runs violent, so I do think there could be some times he's a little bit nicked up because he is a violent runner, but I've tried to buy him everywhere I can. I can't. I love Javonte Williams. I actually personally like the fact that Gordon re-signed here because I think it does help him overall and it'll keep him healthy. But number 4 easily for me is Williams. Like I said, can you see the 5280 Colorado air pouring in here? Or?
Yeah, man, I'm seeing some smoke coming out your lungs right now at that elevation. You got the Subaru parked out front, huh?
Right below me in the garage, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I really wanted to put Javonte in my top 5, and this is where I think I go against the grain heavily. I like him a lot. I think he's incredibly talented, very hard to tackle, as you mentioned, but I still think Melvin Gordon could be good enough to take away touches, more so this year. I think that Denver will use Williams to hopefully, to the best of his ability. But when you have a 1-2 punch like that, there's still always concern. Look at Chubb and Hunt. Hunt has never really taken away that many carries or stats or however you want. Chubb's been an RB1 since he's been in the league. Even when he was a backup, he was breaking RB1 numbers on the games he started, bro. It was nuts. It was legit nuts.
He's been great.
And I think that's the same case with Williams, but those extra 150, maybe 200 carries by Gordon does take away quite a bit from Williams. So luckily he's young enough. I still think he's valued as a top 5 running back right now. Most people agree. And I totally feel it and I can accept that. I just think Gordon is still good enough. I'm a huge Gordon fan too. I drafted him when he came out. I drafted him in multiple leagues.
He's been
as a
great.
Rookie. I'm a huge Big Ten fan, huge Big Ten. And Melvin Gordon was a stud coming out of college, bro. But again, I still think that there's maybe one more year that we got to see and make sure that MG3 doesn't take away that much of his workload. If Denver was smart, you'd have not just a 1A and 1B type of situation. You would have maybe like a 80% to 20% carry rate, I guess, in favor of Williams, because when you see that guy run, bro, it's nasty.
He runs hard. I think it'll improve as the season goes in Williams' favor.
Sure. And as it should. But as you mentioned, he's a great RB. He had a great rookie season with all things considered, especially with MG3 still there. Only 22. I mean, it's looking bright. Great quarterback. 43 receptions as a rookie. Super nice. Over 200 rushing attempts. I mean, that's as solid as a rookie campaign will get.
Yeah, he played well.
Honest. I agree.
Especially in a committee. I mean,
it's exactly the point. Yeah. So signs are looking up. I'm just not quite ready. By this time next year, I'm sure, be my RB like 2 behind JT, but I feel it.
Behind Hall.
I feel it. Behind Hall, yeah. Hall's definitely, yeah. I'm a huge Hall truther, so it's probably going to come back to bite me. But my RB number 4 is Najee Harris, as we discussed. The reason why I have him ahead of, let's say, like Javonte Williams, is because of the fact that he's guaranteed the production. 307 carries compared to Williams' 203 is a significant difference. Even though Javonte was averaging 4.4 yards per carry to Harris's, I think, 3.9. I mean, that's a huge difference. It makes up for it by the extra 100+ carries, man. I mean,
yeah.
In fantasy football, it doesn't matter how they get the points, man. It really doesn't. So many people are caught up on touchdowns or yards per carry, that, blah, 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 touchdown regressions, reception regressions, carry regression. I don't care. At the end of the day, they get the points, bro. And the points is what helps you win the games. And in my opinion, a downgrade at QB, Najee Harris is still set up to be one of the few true workhorse RBs in the game, man. So I got Najee at number 4. Let's kick it off, brother, with the final ranking. Who do you guys your RB number 5?
This one was very tough for me. My RB5 is ranked number 9 overall for me. My RB6 is ranked number 10 overall. So really no difference here. It's funny you mentioned the sure production. My RB5 is Joe Mixon. And that's because and Hall is 6. I got Hall right there, interchangeable. But Mixon to me is essentially what you're saying with Harris. Zero competition whatsoever. He plays in a ridiculously good offense, has a great quarterback, has 2 phenomenal wide receivers that you can't stack the box against Cincinnati. Joe Mixon's going to get upper 200 carries. He can catch. Great blocker, so he never comes off the field. I mean, these guys that we're talking about, blocking, I think sometimes people in Dynasty don't think about. Drafting a running back who can't block super hard or super high is a bad idea because they're going to come off the field. Mixon can block. His age is a bit of a knock, but like I said, plays on a ridiculous offense and zero competition. Chris Evans isn't going to touch the ball more than 5-6 times a game. So, Captain America is not touching the ball. So, Joe Mixon, it was hard for me to put him ahead of Hall. Again, they're neck and neck for me. I just think, as you mentioned with Harris, it's guaranteed production, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, I mean, kind of like you were talking about with Chubb, Hunt, for whatever reason, I don't understand because Chubb's huge, steals red zone carries. Like nobody's touching,
bro. It's stupid.
It's ridiculous. Nobody's touching Mixon in the red zone, period. And that's huge. Even if he has, only 1,100 yards but scores 15 touchdowns, I mean, that makes up for that if somebody scores 1,400 yards, So he's going to get a ton of work and a ton of TDs.
Yeah, he almost eclipsed 300 carries, broke over 1,200 rushing yards. I mean, 13 rushing touchdowns is nasty, dude.
What were his receiving yards? He catches a decent amount too.
So he hit 42 receptions last year, which is on par being one of the top receiving running backs. Yeah, I think
this is good. Good player.
Yeah, dude, the whole offense, bro. That offense is nasty. The fact that they made it to the Super Bowl with such a young squad, I mean, they've got a bright future ahead of them.
And adding Hurst, I mean, Hurst's a decent tight end.
Hurst is not bad.
Yeah, I agree. It's not bad.
I agree. I think Hurst because maybe catch like 50 passes or whatnot.
He's gonna put up some stats, man. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind it, but here's what's crazy is I actually think Evans is low key a buy as a handcuff. He's young enough. He also has a chance to step up because Mixon has missed a few games here and there. Yeah. He has. So I'm not saying that that's detrimental to his ranking, and I think Mixon deserves to be in that spot. I'm just saying that I've looked a little bit into Evans, and I've sent some offers out there for like 4th-round picks, and they've been declined. So it seems like the opposing owners are somewhat high on Evans as well, in the off chance that Mixon misses significant time.
Sure.
So I totally get it.
He's big on the depth chart at that point because I mean, Samaje Perine was definitely the backup last year, but I don't think that'll.
I think continue. Evans is approaching backup status.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what the early reports say, and
I agree.
I gotta say, man, hey, I don't like cuffing my own running backs unless I have like Dalvin Cook because I'd rather cuff everyone else's RB because injuries are due to happen. But Evans looks like a buy, in my opinion, in the off chance. So be on the lookout for some cheap
super
backup
cheap
duties.
Super cheap.
Yep. Yep. Well, here you go. I'm coming in with a banger for my number 5. You ready? This is crazy.
I'm ready.
This is pure optimism, and this is pure just madness, bro. You ready? Who do you think? Who do you think I got at number 5?
I mean, if it's pure madness, Kenneth Walker. I don't know, man.
So Kenneth Walker's cool. Definitely not top 5. Kenneth Walker's probably. I view Kenneth Walker as a higher percentage bust as the number 2 overall pick in most drafts than the past number 2 overall picks.
I have one more guess.
Yeah, one more guess.
It's wild.
It's wild.
J.K. Dobbins.
Dude, I thought about it. I got J.K. Dobbins as like 6 or 7. The only reason why I didn't put Dobbins up there is because Lamar Jackson's rushing capabilities.
Gotcha.
That was the only thing that set him back, and I don't care about his injury because
I love Dobbins.
They bounce back. Running backs especially bounce back easily.
It'll be fun.
But my number 5, and this is kind of on the same platform as Breece Hall. Never played it down in the NFL. My boy, Travis Etienne.
All right, man. I love 5. It.
So
I love it.
Here's the
huge
deal
PPR upside.
Dude, insane PPR upside. So I hate the Jaguars as a franchise, but I don't hate Etienne and Lawrence. The reason why I hate them is because they spent big bucks on terrible wide receivers, dude. Terrible wide receivers. That was a huge mistake, in my opinion, this offseason. But with the lack of talent at wide receiver options, Travis Etienne is going to come in and be a PPR machine. I'm talking maybe 65, 70 receptions this year. And the reason why I feel that is because Trevor Lawrence leaned heavily on him at Clemson. He ranked, I think, like 2nd in reception totals, and I think 1st in yards amongst running backs in terms of receiving yards when he was in college his last year. Bro, absolute beast. Plus, the only reason why they drafted him, which was a horrible pick at the time when you had James Robinson producing like a Mo, is because Urban Meyer wanted to have that connection sustained through the NFL. Now, Etienne, reports are coming out that he has been explosive and that
he's super fast, man.
Yes,
people don't realize he's crazy fast.
That's what's been crazy is the injury that he sustained to his foot is not necessarily that bad in comparison to an ACL or obviously an Achilles, but reports are coming back that he's as explosive as ever. And when you have a young quarterback who is trying to obviously push the ball downfield, you are going to have to rely heavily on a pass catching running back. We're talking Cook numbers, Kamara numbers. I think he is due for a massive year. And additionally, the Jags suck. They're going to be down a lot. And James Robinson will not be ready to come back with his Achilles injury.
They'll probably never be the same player anyways.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they never are. People still, Cam Akers is goated. Nah, come on now. But the thing is, he is primed for a huge role without any competition, with a lot of offense to be had. I'm telling you, Travis Etienne is going to be a stud, and I bet you he jumps up, maybe not to your top 5, but he'll jump up to top like 7, 8 for sure this time next season. Is that a reach or what?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I'm on the same playing field. You saw what I traded for. I traded T. Higgins for Travis Etienne.
Big time payment.
Yeah, I mean, that at the time it was like, I can't believe I just did. I still can't believe I did that, but I'm thrilled to have Etienne because what do you think it would take to trade for Etienne right now?
2 firsts. 2 firsts.
Yeah.
2.
So
I can't even get 2 firsts for guys like Chubb, Cook, obviously Barkley. Like Etienne is going for more. He's more valuable than let's just look up a general rankings. Like I have to pay more for Etienne than I would for Eckler, Cook, Kamara, Chubb, Barkley.
Yeah, because he's got the age too. Yeah. No, I think, obviously that's a bold take, but I'm with you. He's got all the tools to succeed. I mean, I wouldn't want to put like crazy pressure, but CJ2K, I mean, he's a similar player. He's crazy fast. He can catch. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to have 2,000 yards rushing. I mean, for my team, I sure hope he does. But
maybe legit.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, looping back. My two starting running backs as a contender are Etienne and J.K. Dobbins, and
Love it. I
I
love
truly
it.
feel okay about that. I
I
really do.
love it. They're either gonna
I feel fine.
outperform or underperform like a Mo. So
Yeah, it's either gonna be like, well, that was a mistake, or hey, might look like a genius. So
yeah, I'm on the genius side. I got big hopes for both of those players.
right.
Legit, very talented, big opportunities, man.
I
I
did
think you'll be
not
all right.
see I did not see that coming though. I will tell you I was not expecting that. But hey, when you get down into that, like I said, I mean I had Hall and Mixon dead even, but just
Mhm.
with the lean of production. But I mean from there, man, you're looking at Chubb, all those old guys of Cook, Eckler, CMC, down around Dobbins, Kamara, Barkley. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, the running back committee or the running backs, like you said, are just in a bizarre spot. And obviously they're about to get reloaded next year. When
Changes hard.
Robinson, all those guys come in, it's just going to be, the old guys will go further and further down.
Mhm.
Whereas, not necessarily as glaring as Pitts because there are no other good young options, but like ATN, Dobbins, those guys will push up
Carry
because
up.
yeah, they're young and they're kind of the next crop. So Kenneth Walker will push up,
Mhm.
all those guys that have upside
Mhm.
and youth. So yeah, I
And that's
wasn't
big.
expecting that, but I mean, I like it.
So yeah, the thought process here is I think that Etienne can put up similar numbers to a lot of the guys you mentioned this year. I think there's a lot of uncertainties with some of those older running backs in terms of McCaffrey, Henry, not necessarily Chubb, but Cook. All those guys can miss some time. And
Yeah.
Etienne is primed for a big year. And as I try to be proactive in terms of dynasty football, in a sense of I'd always rather be a year early than a year late.
Me too,
And
man. Me
this
too.
time next year, Etienne could probably reach a level where you can't buy him.
Agreed.
It'd be
Whereas
too high.
Agreed. Whereas all those older guys that we mentioned, you're not trading. If you hold them this whole season, you're not trading them for anything but a second next year. Nobody's going to want them.
Mhm.
And I think just going back to ATN for you, I think he'll have really good stats, but I think they'll almost be like creative. Like he'll have
Mhm.
900 yards rushing, but maybe 600 through the air. I mean,
Mhm.
still a great overall season, but I don't think his rushing yards necessarily might not blow you up off the
Mhm.
page. But like you've said, and I say it all the time to everybody, it doesn't matter how they get there.
As long as they get
Guys
there.
that put up points in Dynasty are all that matter. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter how they get there. All you're trying to do every week is outscore your opponent. That's it. It's really quite that simple. So,
Mhm.
if ATN has 70 yards on the ground and 70 through the air and 2 touchdowns through the
That's
air,
nice.
does it matter? It doesn't look as good as, oh, he ran for 120, but nobody cares.
He ran for
Nobody
250 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter how you get there. So I love it, man, because that is outside the box. I totally agree. Obviously, I bought ATN last year, not low. That's
Mhm.
far from low, but I'm all in, man. I didn't run out and try and grab running backs. I think I'm fine with ATN and Dobbins. I really do.
I think you are too. And the big reason why I put him in the top 5 is obviously I'm a big believer, but I just can't see myself trading him straight up for any other running back that I listed behind him. The only other running back that comes close, and again, because I'm a big believer, as you mentioned, is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins was a huge asset to the Ravens before he got injured. And people don't realize that he was very efficient and he was a
He's a good
very
player,
good
man.
running back. So
Good
I'm
player.
trying to be proactive and I'm trying to make sure that I'm always ahead of the game. And once the players hit that cliff, especially running backs, they're retiring on your team, which is not the worst thing in the world if you're contending. But I'd rather get that absolute haul when a player's on their peak value, their peak
Sure.
level, in order to get the next batch of guys coming in. So Tyler, this has been fantastic, man. Absolutely thrilled to hear your top 5 running backs. Folks, we're working on getting these posted. Tyler already posted his rankings. We're going to post mine shortly. Hit us up on Patreon. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. possibly even TikTok soon. Tyler, I think this is a phenomenal episode. Do you have anything else that you want to say before we sign off here?
I do. I have one thing, because you and I really hammered on, the community's really hammering on the yards per carry for Najee Harris.
Uh-oh.
Can
Justification.
Can you tell me a really good running back, phenomenal running back, all-time running back? His career average was 4.2 yards per carry. Can you name me who that was?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to guess, this is just on a whim, Adrian Peterson.
Frank Gore, baby. Number three rusher of all time.
Yeah, 4.2.
And guess what? It was all volume.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's all volume. Frank Gore is like 80 in football years. I love it, man.
Like we just hammered on it. I don't care how you get your points. You're getting your points. I don't care if he averages 2 yards. All right, I shouldn't have gone.
2 is light. 2 is light.
Yeah, everybody thinks Cam Akers is the greatest running back ever. He averaged 2.3 in the playoffs, and people love him.
Yeah.
So, hey, man. Yeah, I don't know how you love Akers but hate Harris, you know.
Yeah, at least he won a Super Bowl. At least he won a ring.
He did. He hustled back, which was not good.
Good. Cool. Well, Tyler, lots of big things coming for Halfback Dynasty. Thanks as always. Great episode. Everybody take care of yourselves. Just remember, you're in this for life.